This team has overcome a lot of adversity and resiliency through the course of the year. It's going to be a tremendous challenge for us.
It'll never be about he and I. It's about the players.
You can only judge a man by what he does next and how hard he gets hit and gets back up. We want to go play our best game. You'll be a Georgia legend. We came here to be legendary.
It's a lot of pressure on those guys to get the W, and it's a lot of pressure on us to beat the team 2 times.
You got to put the work in day by day, leading up to the game. That's what matters.
Be special, leave your mark. I want to leave my mark. I just don't want to be another University of Georgia player.
You know the crowd is, you know the crowd is, you know the crowd is ready. Woo!
The countdown is nearly complete. Welcome to Indianapolis. Frank Sulkowski, Amy Zimmer. It is time to crown a national champion. Welcome to Countdown to Kickoff, and kickoff for the College Football Playoff National Championship now just minutes away. Hard to believe after a season full of so many ups and downs, started back in August. Here we are, the last game of the regular season.
The anticipation has been building all week long here in Indianapolis. Day by day, more and more Alabama and Georgia fans have been rolling here to Indianapolis, and now it is officially an SEC takeover here in the Circle City. Fans are ready for the biggest game in all of college football, just getting ready to kick off.
Of course, Alabama and Georgia, they got plenty of history. These two teams met in the 2018 National Championship game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. The Crimson Tide winning that one. That's one of 7 straight victories Alabama has over Georgia. So Georgia not only looking to win their first national title since 1980, they're looking to snap this nasty losing streak against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide.
Not only that, Georgia head football coach Kirby Smart going up against his former boss in Nick Saban. Smart not able to find an answer against Saban, rolling 0-4 against him.
Tell you what, we want to go ahead and bring in our good friends from ESPN Coastal right now. We have Kevin Thomas and we have Ben Troop, of course. Guys, you guys were with us when we started this college football playoff journey. Of course, when we broke down the Orange Bowl and, of course, the Cotton Bowl. And we had such great analysis, wanted to get you guys involved again. And right off the bat, Ben Troop, you've played on some of the biggest stages in sport. It doesn't get any bigger than this. Is this game going to be bigger than the Georgia Bulldogs?
I don't think it's going to be bigger than the Georgia Bulldogs. I think when you think about it, Frank, how big of a brand Georgia is. But the thing about this Georgia team, they got to take the good and the bad of coming to Georgia. You got to hear about 1980. I know they want to exercise some demons, but Kirby Smart, when you think about the job he's done, coming in for Mark Richt, can he take it to another level? This is his second, college football national championship. Only problem is he got to do that against these, Alabama Crimson Tide. But I do think this Georgia team is poised for it. And I'm going to say this right now, Frank and Amy. If Stetson Bennett, and I know it's going to be a team effort, if Stetson Bennett can find a way to do the unthinkable and finally beat Alabama, it will be arguably the greatest story in college football history.
Yeah, going off of that, Kevin, I want to ask you, how legendary would Stetson Bennett become in the state of Georgia if he were to guide the Bulldogs to victory tonight?
Oh, I mean, it would be truly unbelievable. You're talking about a guy whose story you don't see a lot in college football. We were talking on the air the other day of saying what would even compare to this, and the only guy that we even came close to was Baker Mayfield. Well, Baker Mayfield won the Heisman Trophy, did not win the national championship. And Stetson Bennett, coming in as a walk-on, leaving to junior college, coming back, and then not necessarily knowing he was the starter to begin this year. It was JT Daniels to come in and then lead your team to a national championship. That's a story you can't make that up. And a Georgia kid that chose to go to Georgia over potentially going other places with a full ride offer coming out of high school there in Pierce County. So chose to go the walk-on route, and it could pay off for him in a big way. And I think you look at how it would compare to the other Georgia quarterback, Buck Belue, who had obviously the famous Herschel Walker on his side. I mean, Stetson Bennett is a guy that has had to play 15 games and has to go a little bit farther than they did in 1980. It'd be an unbelievable story, and one that, again, everybody says it's a movie waiting to happen, and it certainly would be.
We talk about Stetson Bennett. Now on the other side, you have the Heisman Trophy winner for the University of Alabama. You have Bryce Young. Guy went out there and pretty much by himself took care of Georgia in the SEC championship game. How athletic of a guy is he? And then what does the Georgia defense have to do differently this time to stop him?
Wow. Bryce Young is a guy that's, as you mentioned, very, very athletic. I think the play of that SEC championship game wasn't necessarily his overall performance. It was when he lost the fumble and was able to get that little arm right there and pull that fumble back in and continue that drive. But if you are Georgia, you got to find a way to spy this guy. You can't let him get outside the pocket because a lot of these plays was made outside of the pocket. And he's probably the best at improvising. Some of these plays he made, you just can't coach. But I do think that Bryce Young is built for this moment. When you think about legacies, he's carrying on a different type of legacy. You talk about being in the same quarterback room as Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones and Tua, and now he's the first to ever win the Heisman Trophy at the quarterback position for Alabama. I do think Bryce Young is going to have another stellar performance, but the one thing Bryce Young does well, he's about as poised as I've ever seen. The guy that is wise beyond his years. If you are Jordan Davis and those guys, make sure that you don't let him outside the pocket. Nakobe Dean, you might have to sacrifice him in coverage, but if Bryce Young is going to have another stellar performance like he did against Georgia and Atlanta, they're going to be hoisting up another college football national championship.
All right, Ben, Kevin, we're going to get back to you guys in just a little bit. Going to get your picks on tonight's national championship game. And coming up after the break, we're going to break down Bama again. We got a special guest going to join us here in Indianapolis as we look at the Crimson Tide and see what they want to do tonight against that Georgia offense, defense, and against the Bulldogs as a whole. Again, that's coming up next. When Countdown to Kickoff continues, we're coming to you from Indianapolis. Boy, it's a big game tonight. And welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff as we continue to get you ready for tonight's college football playoff national championship game. Georgia, Alabama just minutes away from inside Lucas Oil Stadium. Special guest joining us now, Ryan Hennessy from WVTM over in Alabama covering the Crimson Tide. Ryan, first things first, we talked to you back when the college football playoff started. And we had a feeling that we could be on this collision course. Any surprises?
It's like deja vu. We're back. Right? Yeah, and I feel like we expected this, Frank, coming into this season with Georgia's season that they started hot, even going over to Georgia to see them play UAB, just dominating a lot of teams that were ranked very high, and Georgia just really dominating throughout the whole season, and then that Alabama game hit, and I was siding with you. I thought Georgia was going to be easily handing Alabama, but we were surprised in Atlanta.
I tell you what, it was a little surprising. Not that Alabama beat Georgia, but beat them so easily. And what did you see? Do you think that was a little bit of Georgia came out flat, or Alabama just did everything right that night?
Well, I think the answer is Bryce Young. I mean, 4 total touchdowns in that game. I went up to New York the week after to see him get that trophy that everyone knows he has now, and that's the key to this game too, is Bryce Young. I think Georgia's angry. They've got that defense. There's no secret that defense is good, but can Bryce Young be better is the question tonight.
And that defense, we know Georgia's offense, what they're going to want to do. We saw Todd Monken's playbook down at the Orange Bowl. But that Alabama defense, they're pretty comparable with what they saw out of Michigan. So how does Alabama stop Georgia's offense?
Well, and a lot of respect to Stetson Bennett. A lot of people saying, is he going to even play? Will be a reverse Tua? And will the other guy come in? But, you know, that's a good offense that you guys have at Georgia. But Alabama's defense has been doubted for so long. Willie Anderson, number 31, that's the guy you got to look out for. I mean, he is going to be, a lot of people say he doesn't have to play next year. He would be a first-round draft pick. It's incredible what he's done stepping up as a leader just as a sophomore. Him and Bryce Young, not a bad recruiting class for Nick Saban, both sophomores, but that defense has been good. Henry To'oTo'o, a Tennessee transfer, was the leading tackler for Tennessee. Now he's at Alabama, the middle linebacker. So they have a defense. A lot of people were doubting in the beginning, but they proved them wrong. Iron Bowl was a close, low-scoring game. They did a really good job against Georgia, and then we saw the Cincinnati game as well. So they're clicking at the right time, and I think Nick Saban likes that going into this game.
Very good. Ryan Hennessy covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. You know what? We're probably going to catch up with you after the game as well, because we're going to need to break down whether it's the Tide winning another national title or Georgia finally getting over the hump to win their first championships in over 40 years.
Absolutely. And you know, this game, I got to tell you, Frank, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know I saw you guys, you know, everyone's making picks around here. I really don't know, because it's all about, does Alabama start fast, and without John Mechie, he went down in that SEC championship game. He's been the bread and butter, the leader, won the Iron Bowl for Alabama. Jamison Williams was a decoy against Cincinnati. Didn't really have a big game, so you know Georgia's going to look at number 1, the Ohio State transfer. Who else is going to step up? I'm really interested to see how this offense does going into this game for Alabama.
I'll tell you what, in just a couple minutes, we're going to find out. We're going to have a lot of answers to all our questions. We're going to continue our countdown to kickoff coming up after the break. We're actually going to catch up with a couple Georgia players with those Southeast Georgia roots, making big plays for the Dogs during this run to the national championship game. You're watching Countdown to Kickoff. Stick around.
Welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff. We are just minutes away from the College Football Playoff National Championship between Alabama and Georgia kicking off right here in Indianapolis. One of the cool things about getting to cover college football is that we get to see players from the high school football stage in our area shine now on the biggest stage in all of college football, with a handful of local players now playing for Georgia.
Yeah, in fact, if you really break down the Georgia roster, whether it's scout team or guys who are on the practice squad or guys who are walk-ons or guys who are going to be on the field actually playing, we have over a dozen guys from Southeast Georgia that are on this Georgia roster. So a lot of mamas, a lot of dads, a lot of aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters that we've gotten to know over the years, they're here in Indianapolis because their loved ones are part of this Georgia team. And of course, some big names. We'll get to Nolan Smith in just a minute. We got to talk more about the Savannah native. But one guy who's become a beloved kind of a folk hero, not just, here, but all across the country. I was just watching this morning a couple of national broadcasts. Everybody's talking about Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, and no question why. Bennett was a former walk-on at the University of Georgia. He left real quick, and then next thing you know, he's back at Georgia, and now he's in the driver's seat, leading the Bulldogs to possibly their first national title in over 4 decades. And Bennett's story really is something special. Just a small-town South Georgia kid, and now here he is with people from all over the country, if not all over the world, talking about him being one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football.
And here's the thing. Think about this. Georgia goes out here in a couple minutes, and later tonight, they're crowned national champs. A guy like Stetson Bennett, who's a former walk-on from Blackshear, Pierce County, he would go down in history as one of the greatest Bulldogs to ever play. When you talk about Herschel Walker, shortly after you would talk about Stetson Bennett. I tell you what, there are a lot of folks down in Pierce County. He's got a lot of support, so there's a lot of folks going to be cheering on Stetson tonight. Take a look.
He had, 20, 21, 22 scholarship offers, Harvard, Yale, and, a lot of mid-major stuff. And he said, Daddy, I think I'm good enough to play at Georgia. I said, I think you are too. Lord, I thank you for this day and what it represents. Lord, the attention that Stetson has gotten, Lord, for just, for the game of football.
You just knew he was an ultra competitor. And the other thing about him that you always knew, he was wicked smart. Not just book smart, but he understood concepts. He understood field presence. He had that poise about him.
Near halftime, Daniel wants to go outside. He's 6. He goes, Daddy, let's go play ball. I said, Stetson's still on TV. He said, but I want to go outside and pretend to be Stetson. Yeah. That was pretty cool. That's the first thing. Those things happen. First thing I do is grab my phone and text Big Stet.
I got goosebumps right now just for the second time.
Yeah, my wife all week, she's like, I'm nervous. It's like our kids are playing the ball game, and it's Stetson out there, and we're running back and forth to the bathroom, got tore up stomachs and peeing.
That determination to win, that drive, the love for his team, he's had that, and to be able to do that at the University of Georgia, who is his childhood dream, his favorite college, to be able to represent them in the manner that he's representing them is also pretty special.
Man, it's just giving our community, something to rally around, and man, it's watching Georgia football for me has gone to a whole nother level.
You're not going to outwork him. You're not going to out-hustle him. I guess there's a T-shirt for you. Won't outwork him, won't out-hustle him.
You can do anything in this world that you want to do, but you can't just want it. You got to work for it. And so Stetson Bennett IV will be able to do anything in this world that he wants to do.
Don't never give up. I'm a born and raised proud Savannah kid, and I think everybody should keep chasing their dreams, chasing their goals.
Former coach Harold Nelson, one of those who knows Nolan Smith best. Like many here in the Seaport, Nelson watching Nolan and Georgia's run to the championship game with pride.
He just always wanted to work. He always wanted to become the best. If somebody's better than him, he want to become the best.
Win or lose, the college football season ends Monday night at Lucas Oil Stadium. But for Nolan Smith, the work, well, it will continue.
And what about you? Monday night, he wins this thing, and then he comes home in a couple weeks. What you going to tell him?
Congrats, let's go back to work. Just plain and simple, congrats, let's go back to work. Because like I said, he got more goals. It's just the beginning. He has more goals instilled. Like I say, he want to graduate, he want to play in the league, but he got more work to do.
You can tell Nolan Smith has a lot of love for his city of Savannah, and of course, is an inspiration for a lot of young student athletes growing up in the city.
And I tell you what, win or lose, he's got to go back to work, and we got to go back to work here on the flip side. We're going to make our picks. Who do we think going to take home the title tonight? That's coming up when Countdown to Kickoff continues. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Countdown to Kickoff, continuing to come to you from Indianapolis, where folks are making their way into Lucas Oil Stadium. The game is going to kick off in just a couple minutes. Right now, we want to wrap things up with making our picks. And first things first, Kevin Thomas, what say you? Who you got tonight?
Kirby Smart. It's Nick Saban. It's the student versus the teacher. And so far, the teacher has been handling the student, and it's one of those things. I feel like Georgia has a really good chance to win this game, but there's also something about betting against Nick Saban in crunch time. I think Alabama has always seemingly made one more play when they've needed to in big game. I'm going to go with Alabama. I'm going to say 28-21. Alabama gets it done tonight there in Indianapolis.
Wow. All right, how about you, Ben? We got one for Bama. What you got?
It's going to be hard for me to go against Nick Saban. I'm not a betting man, Frank and Amy, but if I was going to spend my money, I'm going to definitely go with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Sometimes people think that because you got to finish the job to have a great season. Kirby Smart has done all you can do as far as like this season goes, being #1 overall the entirety of the season. But Nick Saban has had almost a month to get ready for this Georgia team. He understands tendencies. I don't see Nick Saban losing it tonight. I do think it's going to be a game, a better game than people get credit for, but I'm going to go with the Tide. 31-28. It's going to be a nail biter, but I think the Crimson Tide go back-to-back national champions.
All right, so the radio guys are going with Alabama. Me, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Dogs win 28-24. I think they get over the hump. They win a national title tonight.
Yeah, as for me, I have Georgia topping Alabama 31-28, and that's because I think that Georgia learned their lesson in the SEC championship, and now they're the team playing with a chip on their shoulder.
Well, we're going to find out. Kickoff just minutes away. It's Georgia, it's Alabama. All the marbles at stake. This is the College Football Playoff National Championship game. We'll have updates and recaps coming up on WJCL 22 News at 11, on social media, and then all day on Tuesday, we'll tell you about what all happened right here in Indianapolis. We appreciate you guys joining us tonight. Here we go. No turning back now. It's time to crown a national champ. Have a good night, everyone.